Welcome to Talk to MG. This is my show on Actify Press, and we're going to be talking about stuff that's important to us, mostly about stuff that's important to black people, and we're going to do that unapologetically. So let's ride. So you're listening to Talk to MG, which is my podcast, my show here for Actify Press. So we're having on the show, we're going to have people, we're going to be talking to people, maybe some you know, some you don't, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the world. And over the next few weeks, you're going to hear me talking to people about the American descendants of slavery movement. I am a member or a proponent, a supporter, so to speak. And I'm going to talk to my friend Carla from the Northeast, and she's going to talk to you guys about how she feels about the movement. Hey, Carla, how are you?
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me out of your busy schedule.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. Okay. So I know your time is short, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I'm going to wait for your answers. We're going to talk back and forth, and we'll see how things go. How about that? Sound good?
That's great. Thanks.
Okay. So what candidate did you support in 2016? This is the reason I ask this question, because I often say that the movement is based on lineage as opposed to political ideology. So people come from all different corners because we're present in all different corners of the political spectrum. So that's why I asked the question. So let me ask again. What candidate did you support in 2016?
In 2016, I did support Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what I was going to do. In 2014 and 15, I was already feeling pretty disillusioned, and I was, by 2015, believing that I might not vote, which would have been something very new for me. But I just felt pretty sort of defeated, I guess. And then someone talked to me a little bit about Bernie Sanders and his policies and this, his drive, his campaign. I began to do my own research, and I thought, if this man is for real, this could be an answer, and it would not just be me finding someone that I could pull the lever for. It would be somebody that I could actually believe in.
Mm-hmm. That makes a big difference. I find somebody you can believe in makes a big difference.
It's a huge deal, because as a black woman, I had come to the conclusion, sadly, that I could vote for just about anybody, but I couldn't necessarily say that anybody was really for me.
That's very understandable. Yeah, because the Dems just take black folks for granted, especially black women, because their party would not exist without black women and without black people in general. So it's understandable, quite understandable.
It is a thing. It really is a thing, because the knowledge that they want our vote, that they feel that our vote does actually belong to them, mm-hmm. and yet you don't want to be the one to not vote or the one who votes outside the party, but at the same time, you can't lie and say that you feel convicted about the party, mm-hmm. and what it means for you, or for your race or your family, or just my entire demographic.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. It is.
Yeah, it's sad that it's so frustrating.
Someone should write a song about it.
So several songs, because the fact that they depend on our votes, which should make it a no-brainer. They support so many different things that they could support for us. And
it's painful, Michael, because my father was very pro-education, pro-vote. My father, when we were living in the Bronx, used to come from his job and then take me and my brothers out, and he would knock on doors. Mm-hmm. And he would try to convince people in our area to vote, and he literally had to, come up with a million reasons for why not voting would harm us as a people. Mm-hmm. And I remember that, and he was very convicted about that. He was very, very sincere and very adamant that no matter what happened, we had to go out there, get some knowledge, and we had to pull the lever. And he wanted us to pull the lever as Democrats.
We talk a lot of junk about, for a lot of us, the option is not vote as opposed to voting for a Republican. And sometimes, and I think we're getting to the point where we're going to have to start doing that. We're going to have to start flexing our political muscle in order for the Democrats to believe us, to believe that we will walk. We will.
Well, you and I have spoken about this a couple of times now. And the last time was a few weeks ago. And sadly, after watching the last debate this past week, I don't get the impression that the Democrats are any further ahead on the issue of reparations for ADOS, or even recognize the difference between where we are as a people and where we were, say, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't think that they've changed their position. I don't think they've expanded their thinking, widened their knowledge. I just think that they still have the same agenda. That's how it feels to me. They want our vote. They want us to stand behind the nominated candidate, whoever that is, but they're not willing to make any promises.
Yeah, they're not willing to make any commitments to us, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why I understand why, because they think we're not going to go anywhere. And honestly,
I don't know that that's all of it. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I just keep thinking that there's something more. When I saw back in February that Bernie Sanders did not support a full measure reparations package, that he actually specifically said that there should be no cash payouts, that he wanted another study. I was so shocked. And when I was told that, I said that couldn't be. And I did my research and, of course, found that it was that and a little bit more. And it was very upsetting. But at the same time, it made me stop and think, what's behind this? What is behind this?
Fear. To my mind, it's fear.
But what is the fear? What is the fear? And why? I mean, why would they not? Why would his campaign? Why would the people running the campaign not be pushing him towards the millions and millions and millions of ADOS voters who can actually influence this election and take him over the top? Why?
For me, to my mind, okay, this is Michael Graham's 2 cents. One, I think many people who are on the campaign don't understand what a predicament we're in, how far we have actually fallen, and how much further we would have to go to even get close to equal, right? And for others, I think they see it as insurmountable. And I think still others fear that supporting Black people will make other people leave, as opposed to being concerned about the people who will come because of it.
I disagree, because I don't think that there's a fear of supporting Black people. I think it's a refusal to support ADOS people.
Yeah, that's exactly. You were 100% correct there. Yeah, and that's when I said Black people, that's what I meant, ADOS people. You are 100% correct. I think people, the country, I don't think that's a viable answer. I think they should have started months ago when reparations became a discussion point again. They should have done like they did with every other problem, put a plan together, lay it out, and run it, right? And make people believe, like they did with Medicare for all, like they did with free college, all that stuff that they did. They should have done the very same thing with reparations. Bernie's machine is used.
And they didn't. And what's frustrating, they did not do that. And what's frustrating about it is there's been a refusal to even reverse course and take a look and say, hey, look at the amount of upset and pushback we're getting on this. Let's take another look. Let's figure this thing out. Why do we have to continue to feel left out?
I think, well, I don't know if you saw Jamion's tweet. Bernie's team had reached out to him to discuss reparations. And there would look like there was some shift in what the I guess it was an intern that was talking to him. Looked like they're trying to shift. But I don't think it's enough, honestly, from what I saw.
I have a lot of respect
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of admiration for David Sirota,
mm-hmm.
and I have for years. But I am very concerned about where he is on this.
Yeah, there's a few people I'm concerned about. I'm
very concerned about it because I don't know if you've noticed, but there is next to nothing being said by him about this.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Yeah, I've tweeted at him about it. I mean, I'm nobody, but I tweeted at him about it, and it's really it is concerning. I mean, the entire left is silent on it for the most part. Justice.
Well, I don't know if you've spoken with Brianna.
I haven't spoken with her. She pissed me off one day. Anyway, yeah, there's some gaslighting coming from her that I'm not very happy with. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think that she's very much aware of what's at stake here. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that because she's a black woman, but because I follow her. I read what she says. I've done a little research on her background, and I just think that there's something in that campaign. There's something in the Bernie Sanders campaign that is rolling backwards instead of in the direction that he's known for, which is always a hard forward.
Mm-hmm. The guy running it fast, that dude, he used to work for Pelosi and Harry Reid. Okay. He may be the stopping point. I'm not very fond of him, and and I'm sure he doesn't care, and Lord knows I don't care. And I think he may be somebody that's holding it back, right? And that goes back to helping black people is poison for politics, and there was a time that was true, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think you lay out your case. If it's just, it's just. If it's not, it's not. And I think in this case, it's clear that it's just if you listen to the correct arguments. And I think that that in the article I wrote for that recent article I wrote about nativism, and I think that was part of the campaign, was to silence those arguments because they were so powerful or are so powerful. But our job is to not let that fight die. We just got to fight harder. That's all.
Well, here's where I am.
Mm-hmm.
It was in early March of 2019 that I had to accept that the candidate I'd been voraciously supporting, would not take a stand on the single most important topic for me.
I feel
it is now the middle of September, exactly the middle of September, and I haven't seen any sort of a shift away from that stance of March.
Mm-hmm.
What should I think? What should my children think? What should my mother think?
Mm-hmm.
What should my aunts, uncles, and cousins think? And there's a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
What should we think? I mean, I pushed them, and they're mostly in South Carolina. They're mostly in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I pushed them to vote for him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not comfortable doing that push this time.
I understand. I've told a lot of people I'm no longer in the Bernie camp. I'm in the my camp, and he's gonna have to come to me.
I won't go against him, but I can't push the way that I did before, and I pushed hard. Okay, my family goes up and down the coast. I have friends who are voting as absentee ballot people in Europe. But I can't do this again because I don't want the weight of this loss. And even if he wins, it's a loss.
Mm-hmm.
If he won't take a stance for the people who actually made it possible for him to be here.
Absolutely, and that's
how I feel. I know they don't agree, but that's how I feel.
Mm-hmm. And it's true. It's true. And for me, they said that Biden has 46% of the black vote. That's
a lie.
Whatever, he's got a chunk. He's got a chunk, and whatever it is, Bernie's got to find a way to dislodge that, or he's not going to win. And
I don't believe that he has 46% of the vote, but I do believe that there's a problem here for Bernie.
Yeah, there's a huge problem here for Bernie, and if he can't see that this is an opportunity to take that vote away from or his team can't see this is an opportunity to take that vote away from Biden. If he loses, that's on him. That's on him.
I found it terribly upsetting that Kamala used the word reparations so many times, and the guy that I supported so heavily did not.
Won't even touch it.
I am not a Kamala supporter. I don't like her policies. I don't like her platform. But